Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to bring you the reveal of the newest Just a Note collection with Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to walk you through all of these fabulous new products, starting with two brand new background cling designs. This first one is called Ticking, and as always, our background stamps are red rubber mounted on a cushy foam, and they work well with any type of stamp positioner. You can also use them without a stamp positioner, and you can do a lot of fun techniques. I love this simple ticking, kind of striped with faux stitching design. And then next we have the school supplies. This one has a unique shape to it, kind of comes out from the corner. And again, the red rubber mounted on the cushy foam. It's already pre-trimmed to that unique shape. Great for back to school things, great for crafters, people who just like school supplies like me. And then we're going to move on to some new stamp designs. This first set, a larger set, is called Lookin' Sharp, and I think it pairs perfectly with that latest cling I just showed you, the school supplies. Similar things happening there. I think you could use the two together if you want to kind of, overlap some of the Copic markers and the pencils. Or you could use some of these sentiments with that background cling. There are coordinating dies for all of those sentiments and all of those crafty images. I love this border along the bottom of pencils. You could do those pencils in a bunch of different colors. This is great for those back to school projects or teacher cards, but the sentiments allow for a lot of different occasions. You're something to write home about. That's a really good point. You're just the right person. You have the right stuff. You're so sharp. Tickled ink to meet you. So it kind of stretches the usage of all these fun school supply images. Okay, next up we have this So Swell sentiment stamp set, and there are coordinating dies, as you can see to the left. There's 3 dies that coordinate with those large 3 bold sentiments. I think you're swell, waving hello, let's sail away, wish you were here, I'm so lucky to know you, and leave this mess behind. I love this curvy font. I think this would go great if you had a water scene or even with boats. Let's sail away. It could coordinate with that. Maybe some things you already have, but you just want to refresh. You can refresh it with some sentiments. Next up is the plant sentiments. And again, this one kind of goes with plant themed projects. So live life in full bloom, cultivate a grateful heart, plant seeds and watch them grow, let your dreams blossom. You're so strong. Thinking of you always. May your day be filled with joy. There's a lot of sentiments in this set. I think that can be used for any type of card, but it also would pair greatly if you have some plant stamp sets or plants pattern paper, foliage of any kind. Okay, this one here is a previously released stamp set called Retro Wishes. It was included in one of the past card kits, and now it's a set with the coordinating dies. So maybe you already have the stamp set and you want to just pick up the dies. Maybe you want to pick up the whole set as a whole. I absolutely love that rainbow. They're labeled like C1, C2, C3, so you know which arch to stamp, and there's a lot of fun things to do with the Retro Wishes. Moving on to some standalone dies. First up, we have Looking Sharp. And of course, I've die cut them all to show you because you really got to see it for size and just to get a feel. So this one is bold. I popped up the white word die onto some pattern paper. And this word die would pair perfectly with the school supplies background cling or the Right Stuff stamp set, any type of back to school, or with pencils, looking sharp. Okay, then next we have the Fresh Cut Floral Stem flower die. Look at how gorgeous this is. So you can layer up that bloom. I use 3 different shades of solid color cardstock, and it really gives you that dimension, and you could customize it with a lot of different colors. It's just a beautiful bloom with a lot of detail. It's very dainty, but packs a lot of punch. And then we have daisy heads. So, you know what? I'll show you a card that I do at the end. I took the stem from the Fresh Cut Florals and I put the daisy head on top of the stem. So you can always add a stem from something else, but maybe you don't want a stem. You just want just make a cluster of daisy heads. So these are layered and you can zhuzh them, and look at that like dimension, like it's coming out at you. Very, very cool. I love the crisp white petals in contrast to that bright sunshine center. It's very fresh and very happy. Next, we have the citrus slice background. This is a standard A2 size full panel. First thing I thought was, oh my gosh, rainbow kaleidoscopes happening there. Second thing I thought, pizzas. But third thing was the name, citrus. So you could make this lemons and limes, but you could also make a pizza. But I mean, first of all, I just want to do rainbow. Like each little piece of the pie, make it rainbow little kaleidoscope. But you could back it with acetate and make it a shaker filled with sequins behind. So many fun things you can do with that. And then lastly, we have the super sunflower plate. Again, another standard A2 size. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it cuts all these intricate sunflowers right into it. So you could just adhere this right onto a white card base or pattern paper. You could back it with acetate and make a shaker, which is what I did. I'll show you at the end of the video. But we're moving on to some new embossing folders. There are 5 new designs in this Just a Note release. This first one is called Gradient Dot. And of course, I had to emboss all of these onto some solid color cardstock so you could really see the amazing texture. So this gradient dot, I don't know if you can see, but there are different thicknesses of dots. Some are really coming out and some are more subtle, but it's just a very beautiful one. Next we have the vines. And these vines are very dramatic. I actually use this one on a card I'll show you later. And I did this on some dark peacock cardstock. But it gives you a different look depending on the cardstock that you use. And then we have the Darcy Bouquet. This one comes with 3 dies. So you can use it just as an embossing folder, but you can also die cut some of the blooms in there. But look at this gorgeous bouquet. But then you can die cut 3 of the blooms and emboss them. So you could do these in different colors. Maybe add a little ink blending or some shading, pop them back on for some contrast, and it all kind of fits right in like a puzzle piece. So there you have the Darcy Bouquet. Stunning. Next we have the Golden Fern. Just a classic big old fern coming right out of the corner there. I embossed this onto some green apple cardstock. The texture is amazing. And you could add a little ink blending over top of that to bring up the contrast. Lastly, we have the Margot tile. And I did this out of some lilac cardstock. Look at that, beautiful. And it looks just as good on the back side. So you might have trouble choosing which side to use because they're both stunning. So that's the Margot tile. Okay, moving along, we have some brand new stencil designs. This first one is called A7 Scalloped Rectangles. So it gives you 4 scalloped rectangle stencils and 4 scalloped rectangle masks. And these are sized for A7 projects, but you can certainly adapt them and use them for different sizes of projects. A7, I believe, is approximately 5 by 7 size card. It's a larger, kind of a standard greeting size that you would buy at the store. So it's a little bit larger, and you can layer these. There are like this little type of registration mark on the stencil, so it shows you where to line up that size of panel, which I think is approximately 5 by 7. And then you have the 4 different sizes of masks. So these can fit perfectly back into the stencil if you want to use that feature. Maybe you want to blend on the outside of the scalloped rectangle and leave the inside white. So there's different uses for the stencils and the masks. Next up, we have the layered sunflowers. This is 3 stencils that you can layer up together. It's larger, so it can be used for a slimline or to accommodate all different sizes of cards, A2, A7, mini, slimline. I love how the back of the packaging shows you what it's supposed to look like, gives you a little inspiration. Of course, you could customize those colors to get a lot of different looks. And that is the Layered Sunflowers stencil set. Next up is the Summer Bouquet, and it is just a simple 1 stencil, beautiful floral bouquet. You could do a lot of different things with this. You could add a bunch of different colors with shading. You could run this through dry on a piece of cardstock and kind of emboss it. Have you ever seen that look? For a little texture. You can use some embossing paste. And lastly, we have layering apples. And I believe this is 4 stencils. So you got the base of the apple. you have the apple stem. And then this one here is like a little shading on the apple. And then this one is the leaf. And again, the back of the stencil packaging shows you what it looks like. Great for back to school, teacher, apple picking season. Do you have a favorite apple? Mine actually is Honeycrisp. I love all apples though. Okay, we have some new CZ products. I always look forward to what Kathy Zilski comes out with. This first word die is called Just a Note. And as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than the packaging. That's why I die cut these, so you can really get a feel for the size. It's just a simple Just a Note. Can be great with the school supplies or a teacher, or just you want to just send just a note. And I did that with 2 different shades of solid color cardstock, and then a classic teacher word die. It's got the classic CZ font. I did a white word die on top of a bright red backer. You can pair this with the Right Stuff stamp set or the school supplies background cling. And then next we have the noted stamp set and the noted coordinating dies. Now this one made me chuckle. Okay, if you look closely, the sentiments are witty in pure CZ's fashion. So you've got the little notepad there, and you can fill it with all these sentiments. Waking up on time, starting laundry, putting laundry away, cooking food, breathing, working at your job, posting to Instagram. Today you're winning at, and you can fill it with all these fun things, posting to Instagram. Celebrate the little things. Sleeping 4 to 8 hours, being a great human, being a great friend. Just being you, calling your bestie, existing on the planet. So great witty sentiments that you could make somebody laugh with. And then there's all these other ones too, like my total favorite human, super, how do you say this? Super hot. That made me laugh, and it will make your friend laugh too. So again, there's the coordinating die for that little note paper and those 4 largest sentiments. Okay, moving on, we have some new sentiment strips. These are called teacher sentiment strips. You get 4 sheets in a pack. They're pre-printed sentiments on white cardstock. They work beautifully with the sentiment label dies. I've been trimming them with my little mini guillotine. You get a variety of sentiments. Great for teachers, but there's also some just like thank you and thanks for a great year, and we thank you. And then you have the reverse teacher sentiment strips. So these are the reverse, the white on black, which are my most used. And I love the variety because you're not locked down to only teacher cards. There's a lot of just thank you, which is one that I use all the time. I'm always looking for a classic thank you sentiment strip. Okay, we have some new mini ink cubes with the positively saturated ink colors. And there are 2 different collections. The one that I just opened here is called Blue Seas ink cubes. These are some of my most used colors. Tide Pool, Tropic, and Aegean. And then you have Seafoam, Surf, and Ocean. And I'll just open one up here for you to take a little peek. It's got that great smooth, cushy foam with that positively saturated ink color that you've come to know and love. So that is the Blue Seas collection. And then this one here is called Blue Skies. So this is really handy to have these small little ink cubes if you're traveling or if you don't have a lot of storage room. Cubes are the way to go if you want to have a lot of color for not taking up a lot of space, or maybe you just don't want to spend so much money on the full size. Marine, Cadet, and Royal, my favorite true blues. And then you have Morning, Twilight, and Galaxy, kind of like a blue, purple, gray, just beautiful combination there. Okay, Seafoam, Surf, and Ocean. And then my favorite, Tide Pool, Tropic, and Aegean. Last but certainly not least, we have the Perfect Day sequin mix. And this is a beautiful one to pair with those new ink colors. Great to fill with your shakers or just to add embellishments. You get a mixture of 3 sizes of that kind of aqua confetti. There's also some little white ones in there. Then there's a few, if you look closely, there's a few really large kind of iridescent white ones in there too. So you get a mixture of white, iridescent, clear, and aqua. And these are just handy dandy. I use them on a few of my projects coming up that I'm going to show you. So that is everything in the Just a Note collection with Simon Says Stamp. And before we go, I wanted to share a couple of projects that I've created using some of these new products. My first card features the vines embossing folder on the background. I paired the fresh cut floral stem with the daisy head. I used the CZ Teacher word die with some of the teacher sentiment strips. This card here features the super sunflower plate. I turned it into a shaker and added the Just a Note by CZ for the word die with vellum and gold. Make sure and check out the Simon Says Stamp blog for more information and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.